Hey everyone, Pat here, Devro at Base, and today we are at EthDenver 2025. And today I'm going to be doing a workshop on our Paymaster, specifically on securing and making gasless transactions for your smart account. We are going to talk a little bit about what we're going to build, a little bit about Paymaster, account abstraction, smart wallets, and what it means to set Paymaster policies. Then we're going to jump into writing some scripts, and we will have time in person for some Q&A. I wanted to make this video for those who couldn't make it out to Denver for whatever reason. I didn't want you to miss all the content and knowledge that we'll be sharing. So what are we building today? Today, we're going to be talking about how to set up a Paymaster. I put that in quotes because it's so easy. Coinbase developer platform makes it super easy to do it. We're going to create some custom gas policies. We are going to allow list contracts. So we're going to restrict what things we sponsor. We're going to create a smart account through an EOA. And then we're going to sponsor some transactions on that smart account. So we're going to mint an NFT, and then we're going to do some gasless token sends as well. So let's not waste any time. Let's jump right in. So a little bit about Paymaster. So Coinbase provides you with a ERC 4337 compliant API, right? This is account abstraction. This is the endpoint that you're going to be sending your user operations so that you can sponsor them on behalf of your users. If you don't know, account abstraction is what enables gasless transactions, right? This is where you have these smart accounts or smart wallets that create what is called user operations. You can think of this as like intents. What do you want your users to do? What is a smart account trying to do? That's the intent. That's the user operation. That's minting an NFT. That's making a transaction, sending a token. That is going to be your user operation. Then this user operation is sent to the bundler, perfectly named because it packages up these user operations and sent to an entry point contract that is going to be responsible for the execution of the transactions. And then the Paymaster, which is the part where the sponsorship comes in. This is optional, but we're going to be using it today because we want our users to not pay gas. This is why we are here creating gasless applications. And it's good to note that the Paymaster we're working with today, while we won't be using custom tokens to pay for gas, that is possible with the Coinbase developer Paymaster and bundler. So you can use, if you have a token for your community, you can allow your users to pay for gas using that token. I think it's super awesome, and it adds additional utility for your community. Last but not least, this is all possible because of smart wallets. So these are different from EOAs or externally owned accounts. Externally owned accounts are accounts with these private keys, long seed phrases, alphanumeric, characters. You're like, there's no way I'm going to remember this. And if you lose your private key, if you lose your seed phrase, well, that's pretty much it. There's no way to recover it. However, with smart wallets, not only can you create these accounts or in seconds, they are protected with passkeys, and you can recover them as well. So it's super awesome and super easy to onboard users with smart wallets. So you're going to onboard them easy with smart wallets, and then you're going to have these sponsored transactions so they can just use your application. That's what we're trying to do with gasless applications. That's why we encourage you to make gasless applications. It speeds onboarding for your users, and it allows them to play around with your application before having to, figure out how do they get gas. And that ultimately leads to a better UX and allows them to stay on your application, so it retains your users. So we really believe you should go gasless. And if there's one thing I want you to take away from this, is that whether you need a smart wallet, whether you need a node RPC endpoint, you need a Paymaster and bundler endpoint, Base and the Coinbase developer platform provides you with everything you need to build an on-chain app. and in this case, a Gasless Onchain app. Okay, so without further ado, let's build, let's write some of these scripts, let's get our hands dirty. All right, so here I am at my desktop. What I want to do here is open up a new terminal. Okay, let's do that. Let's do a new terminal window. I'm going to show you, we're going to go from complete scratch to sponsoring transactions. Okay, so I'm going to go to my desktop here, and in my desktop, I'm going to create a folder. Let's just call it EthDenver 25. Okay, I put EthDenver. We're going to go to EthDenver 25. Let's go in there, and let's open it up in our IDE. Awesome. So now I have my project open, and let's use the terminal provided here. I'm going to initiate a new node project. So npm init. And I'm just going to click through all these, and that will essentially create a new node project for us. Okay. Next thing to do, we want to install our dependencies. We're only going to use two. That's going to be VM and .env. So let's install those now. So it's going to be .env and VM. These are this is going to allow us to interact with the blockchain, create our smart contracts, etc. And then we'll also need to store some sensitive information in a file. .env is going to allow us to read that information from that file. Speaking of sensitive files, let's create that now. We're going to touch .env, which is going to create our environment variable file. And I'm just going to paste it in here, the 5 or so variables that we'll need. We have these 5 variables. So we have a Paymaster URL. This is going to be the endpoint in which we will be sponsoring our transactions. We're sending our transactions to. We'll have a private key. This is going to be our EOA's private key. We will also have a NFT contract address that is here. That's what the NFT that we'll be minting. And then we'll also have the entry point contract address and the factory contract address. Okay, so one of the first things we want to do is get our private key. If you don't have one already, or if you don't want to use your personal one, if you have Foundry installed, you can do cast wallet new, and you now have a new private key pair. So you can take that private key, copy it, and paste it right there. Cool. Now, this Paymaster URL is incomplete. I need to go get one from the Coinbase developer platform. So let's go over there and let's start to look at our configuration. Awesome. So here we are at the Coinbase developer platform. And the first thing we want to do is go over to Onchain Tools, Paymaster, and go to our configuration. So on this page, we now have our Paymaster and bundler endpoint. This is what I will need to paste in my .env file. So I'll copy that. And while I'm here, I want to talk about this contract allow list section. So what we have here are two tokens, or 2 contract addresses, I should say. And these are the ones that I have allow listed. So if we look at the first one here, this is the NFT contract. I appropriately named it NFT, and provided it the platform with the contract address. I've also allow listed one function, which is going to be the mint2 function, and it takes one parameter, which is the address to send the NFT to. So everything looks good there, so I'll leave that alone. And the other contract that I allow listed is the USDC contract on Base. Named it USDC, gave it the address, and I approved all functions, because never know. However, I could easily change that and specify the 1, 2, or however many functions that I would like to do. For this case, I'm just going to leave it like this. I just want to show you that you can have one or many functions allow listed on a specific contract, and also to let you know that if you allow list a function, be sure to also make sure that function one exists in the ABI, but also is in your project when you are using it. You'll see that in a second. So now that we have our Paymaster and Bundler endpoint, let's bring that into our project and start writing our scripts. All right, so I'll paste that in there. We have everything we need. And now let's start working on the first thing. And the first thing is creating a smart account. So I'll create a new file called create smart wallet. Let's call it, smart wallet. And what I'll do is I'm going to paste in the code for creating a smart wallet, and I'm going to walk you through exactly what's happening there. Okay, so here is the script on creating a smart wallet. And so let's talk about what's happening here. So again, we are using .env. This allows us to read our environment variables like the one here. And then we're using VM, as you can see, for all of these other sort of helper functions here to one, create a Coinbase smart account. And then what we're going to use is we're going to import a function that allows us to convert our private key to an account. We will use the create public client function as well as the HTTP function in order to create a client that can communicate with Base. And that's what we do here. So the first thing we do is we create a client that speaks to the Base chain and uses our Paymaster URL. This is also our endpoint to Base as well, so it works the same there. Lastly, we'll export a function that creates the smart account for us. And what we do is all these smart accounts will have a owner, and that owner is the EOA that, is your personal EOA, but it's the private key / account that we just created in the terminal here using Foundry. But this could be your Coinbase wallet account, your MetaMask, etc. So we'll set that as the owner. And then when we create the smart account, we will use the client from above as well as set the owner of that smart account to our EOA. And that's it. From there, we'll be good to go, and we've created a smart wallet. Now, with our smart wallet created, we can start to put together a user operation for this smart account and then sponsor it. So let's do that now. I will create a new file called paymaster.js, and I'll do the same thing. I'll paste in the code, and then we'll walk through what's happening. Okay, so here's the code to create a user operation and send it on chain. Similarly to the file before, we will get the configuration to create a public client and connect it to Base. But now we have this new function that it will allow us to create a bundler client. And again, everything is using VM. And then we'll import the ABI of the NFT. So actually, I don't have this file created, so let's go ahead and create that right now. We'll call it abi.js, and then we'll just paste in the ABI here. So we'll close that out, and then the last thing we'll do is we'll import the create smart account function from the file we created earlier. Looking through the code, the first thing we'll do is we'll create a public client. Then we'll create the bundler client, connect it to Base, point it to our Paymaster URL, and then we'll set the Paymaster to true. With that being taken care of, we will initialize a smart account. Then we'll log the address of the smart account. And when we're sending a user operation, one of the first things that we'll do, if you don't do this, you'll get an error, but you'll want to estimate the fees, the gas fees for this particular transaction. And so what we do is we use that public client, and there's a function on that public client that allows us to do that. So we'll just call that function, and then we will save it in these two variables here. Okay, the next thing we'll do is we will now package up this user operation. And the way we'll do that is that we'll interact with the bundler client. The bundler client comes with a send user operation function that takes an object, that takes an account, calls, and those estimated gas fees. The account that we'll be using is going to be the smart account. And the calls is an array of contract calls. For this case, it's only the mint2 function. We're minting an NFT. We'll put the ABI in there, and then we'll have the address for the NFT contract. And then the only argument we'll need is where to send the NFT. In this case, we're sending it to the smart account. Once that runs, we will log that we've minted the NFT, as well as a link to the block explorer. So let's go ahead and try to run this. So node paymaster, and looks like we are getting an error. Okay, cool. That means that we need to make this a module. So we'll go there. If you get that error, that's what you have to do there. And so let's run it again. Oh, smart account created. Awesome. So we just minted an NFT to our smart account that has no gas. There's no tokens in there. So let's copy the address and then also go to the block explorer. All right. So there we go. Successful. 15 seconds ago, we just completed our first user operation. We just sponsored this transaction. Let's go to the address of the smart account that was created. Let's click on that. Awesome. And I'm waiting for this to finish so I can just show you this really cool thing. Yes, you can see right here that it is a smart contract wallet. And if we go to user operations, we'll see that user operation that we just did. But even cooler, we'll see the token transfers, and we'll see that it has minted a ERC 721. And that's it, guys. That is how easy it is to mint an NFT using a smart account and not have to pay gas. So that was a gasless NFT mint. We did that with two scripts. One was to create the smart account. The other one was to just send the user operation. It was a breeze to set up our Paymaster. We literally went to the Coinbase developer platform. We grabbed an endpoint. We listed our contracts, and we were off to the races. Last thing before I wrap up, part one. Part one is about minting the NFT. Part two will be about token transfers. If we go into our configuration, we can start to see how much gas we sponsored globally. So far, it's been like 5 cents. I've done this a few times, and so that's why it's 5 cents. But for the particular transaction we did just now, it was very, very cheap. It probably wasn't more than a penny because we're doing this on Base. And that concludes part one of this Paymaster workshop. Base.